Looking for those things and just doing some homework before you agree to drop 3, 4, 5 figures on marketing and advertising services is a very smart thing to do.
I told myself that money would never be a factor. Now I'm laughing at Benny Hanna's with benefactors. Sell my soul for an artist's love with them giant raptors. My chef cooking that steak and lobster on giant platters.
What up, Internet? My name's Drew. Welcome to episode 2 of a show I like to call Deliberate Marketing. Today's episode actually isn't what I had originally planned to put out there. But after some of the information that I talked about in episode 1, about how one of my main goals is to get people, small business owners specifically, to stop spending money on people that are just taking money from them and not offering products of significant value, services worth spending money on. I thought episode 2, you know what, let's take a little detour and let's dive in a little bit further on some of the stuff that I'm talking about right there. For those of you who don't know me, I run a digital marketing agency called DS Media, located in the greater New England area. For the last 5 years, we've helped more than 100 different businesses acquire somewhere in the ballpark of 50 million organic views and a whole bunch of other things, which we can get into a little bit later. But to make a long story short, myself and my team, we actually know a little bit about digital marketing. And so what I want to do on this episode is actually teach you what you can look for to figure out whether the individual that you're talking to about promoting your business actually knows what they're talking about and is worth the money that they're charging you. Which, for the record, a lot of the time they're not. So we're just going to kind of dive into some red flags here. I am going to name some names. I'm going to pick some fights because I spent 10 years working bar security and I'm not scared of some kids hanging out on the internet. So let's dive right into it. Number 1, I'm just going to go through a list. It's going to be like 4 significant items. These are things that you can look out for. These are ways that you can vet the individuals that you are talking to about marketing, advertising, branding, promotions, whatever. The first big thing that I would look out for if I were in the position of a small business owner looking for somebody to promote my business is case studies and testimonials. Red flag number 1, I feel like is pretty self-explanatory, but if the only proof of their work is their own business, their own following, whatever it happens to be, I don't know if I'd trust that. Business 101, I think just about any entrepreneur will tell you, if you start a new product or service, the first thing that you should be doing is knocking on doors and offering your product or service for free, right? You should be offering as much as you possibly can to get as many testimonials as you can so that you have social proof to show others when you approach them and go through that whole, cold lead process. So if you open up somebody's website and you notice that there's no mention of anybody that they work with, that would be a red flag to me. And kind of an example of this that I really don't want to pick on too much because it's very clear that they're new and they're trying. But I'm hoping that this can be constructive for this individual. For the record, the other ones in this list, fuck them, for lack of a better way to put it. But the one that we're going to check out right here real quick, Savvy Lead Marketing over here in, I believe, the greater New York area. Let's take a look at this real quick. So first off, we've only got 3 posts on this page, so it's pretty clear that they're new. But we take a dive into their website real quick, and we notice that there is no mention of testimonials anywhere in here. Nothing at all. And another big indicator, a big red flag to me, is I actually clicked around on the menu pages here, and they don't work correctly. Like, they open up new tabs to go to the same section of a page on here. Secondarily, another thing that you can do to vet your sources, which we'll come back to on another individual in a moment here, but you can actually Google the businesses and pull up their business profiles. Googling in general is a great idea. Just to do a basic vetting of your sources. Everything on the internet is documented nowadays. I don't know if you guys have heard of this thing called the Wayback Machine, but that's a great example. But a basic Google search will tell you a lot about the individual or the agency that you're dealing with, right? So Savvy Lead Marketing, we pull it up here. They're based in Sheridan, Wyoming, which is not correct. I don't know why they're registered in Wyoming and serving the NYC metro area, but if we pull it up, we do see that their principal address is in New York, et cetera, et cetera. This is the location of their agency. So it's clearly an individual working out of their home. They're probably getting started right from the get-go. You know, it's entirely possible that this individual, I believe who is named, there we go, Inku. I believe they're just getting started. I don't think there's anything malicious about this, but if I were a business owner looking to spend a significant amount of money on marketing and advertising services in some capacity, it looks like their specialty is like websites and lead gen, I'd be hesitant about this. I would be very hesitant, to be honest. I would definitely be interested in giving them a shot with some kind of a money back guarantee, assuming they have some kind of social proof somewhere. But given the stock media and everything else, I think this is somebody new who's trying, and I think they're headed in a good direction. I don't think they're trying to fuck anybody over, but there's definitely some things here that would make me think, okay, my money's probably better spent elsewhere. Some of the other red flags that pop out to me here while we're just checking out this profile is definitely the stock media. That is always a big red flag to me. Stock media, stock photo, stock video. It does not matter what the business is. If I see stock imagery, I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all. Not on the independent business scale. And then once you're talking larger brands, larger entities, big, large scale corporate stuff, they have the money to spend on actually getting the proper footage that they need. So stock media in general, 9 times out of 10, I don't really trust it. This is also clearly an AI generated caption. The M dashes, the excessive use of emojis, the specific structure of the caption here. This is another one that is clearly AI generated. This tagline right here is 100% AI generated. Not this, but that. We don't do this, we do that. That is AI generated copy 100%. 10 out of 10 times, if you see something set up in that structured format, that is 100% AI. This thing as well, the the ellipses to cover up for the M dash there. Again, AI generated content. I wouldn't trust it too much. Inku, if for some reason you check this out, I hope you view this as constructive criticism. I think you're headed in the right direction. I think you just need to go out and get some testimonials. Offer to do some stuff for free. Document the process of that and get that up on your social media here. I think you'll be doing all right after that. That's really just that would be the starting point for an agency like that. I was at that point. Once upon a time. My first client actually happened by accident. This whole business happened by accident. I was originally a journalism major back in college, so I've been big into writing copy, persuasive writing, and things like that for 15 years now at least. Got out of it a long time ago, and through just working with a camera over 12, 15 years or so, I got pretty good at putting different media things together. In the middle of COVID, a buddy of mine reached out and he was like, "Hey, I know you're good with business. I know you're good with cameras, and I know you're good with writing. I have no idea what I'm doing with my business's social media. Can you help me out? Like, can we figure something out?" And at the time, the business that I was running was closed due to, the panini. And because of that, I was like, hell yeah, like I need something to do. I was several months into just kind of sitting at home, eating a whole lot of Domino's, drinking a whole lot of wine, and watching a whole bunch of stand-up comedy. So I jumped at the opportunity to just do something, basically. And when we got in there, word of mouth spread from that. This is a great positive example of how word of mouth works. We got in there, we started putting some new things together. The media that we were putting together for the business's page, because it's obviously shared publicly, it's marketing. Business owners that were following that individual page started reaching out and being like, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Like, who's putting this stuff together for you? I could use something similar." And then by the end of the year, I had a cleaning company, I had a realtor, I had a yoga studio, and a whole bunch of other stuff, hanging out looking for similar services, which is the point where I was like, oh, geez, I better take this stuff seriously. But then if you go to the DS Media page, one of the first things that we have on our homepage here are testimonials from some of our most successful clients. That's social proof goes a long way. Let me see if I can pull up the testimonials here. There we go. The testimonials that you see here, that is right on our homepage. That's like the third or fourth thing you see. Yeah. So easily found. We're working on getting our case studies up there and updated and everything else. But social proof goes a long way. So if item number one, if I don't see something that says the agency or freelancer has done something for somebody else, I'm very hesitant to spend money on it. Conversely, this is actually a really good point. If you see somebody's put together a bunch of testimonials and you happen to find out that they offered their service for free to put those testimonials together, that would not necessarily discount me from considering that individual for services or that agency for services. If they've had to put some stuff together for free just to get some testimonials, get some word of mouth out there, get that social proof that we were talking about, get a portfolio put together, and then they approach you and they quote you on a specific price. I mean, fuck, dude. It's probably worth it at that point. If they've made it through 3 to 5 individuals putting together the exact service that they're talking about, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be worth the dollars that they're charging you. Now, that is within reason, obviously, but generally speaking, new people, when they're starting out, the first couple people that they pitch are underpriced. Great example is the first couple of clients that I worked with. I mean, I was charging $200 a month for, I was charging $200 a month for full management and marketing services when I first started out on this stuff. The same thing that nowadays I would be charging somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 for. So that actually is an opportunity. If you find a new agency that's willing to kind of work with you and stuff, you can definitely get a pretty good bargain on that stuff sometimes, depending on how the negotiations go. That's just my 2 cents. Take that for what it is. It's entirely possible you find a diamond in the rough. It's entirely possible you find a dud. Inku with that savvy marketing example that we just gave there, it's entirely possible that he's a diamond in the rough. It's entirely possible that he really does know what he's putting together there, and the first couple of clients that he works with are going to be astounded by the sheer volume of interest that they get in their business from the lead gen that he puts together. I don't know, though. That's this opinion is explicitly me talking as though I were a small business owner that knows I have a very limited budget to promote my business and therefore needs to make sure that every single dollar that I'm spending on this stuff goes as far as it possibly can. And the position that you're in when you're talking about stuff like this as an entrepreneur, as, an individual or a small team, like every dollar counts, right? And so that's not the time where gambles are made, or at least they shouldn't be, unless you're talking about, what's his nuts? I can't remember if it's FedEx or UPS, but one of those guys went and gambled and basically saved the whole company. Story for somebody else to tell. That's not my game. Number 2, and this is a very, very easy catch, and a basic one that you can really, really easily search. Very, very easy. Did I say it's easy? And this is very, very important. If somebody is selling you on marketing and advertising services, audit their follower count immediately. Like, the first thing you should do is audit their follower count. And what I mean by that is, and this is the first name that I'm very excited to talk some shit about, because I can't fucking stand this lady. And at this point, she is unfortunately marketing to me quite a bit. I'm getting retargeted due to the fact that I pulled up her content to make this point. Let's pull up the screen here. There we go. Miss Katie here. Katie and Floyd, whatever I'm assuming that's her husband's name or some shit. I don't fucking know. So this lady right here says she's a sales psychology mogul. She teaches courses on how to fucking sell ads or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Says she has 6.4 thousand students and blah, blah, blah. All of this shit. 50,000 followers. That's pretty significant right there. That's no number to scoff at, right? And it's like, okay, so maybe this lady does know what she's talking about. It's quite possible. Well, let's go back to the basic Google search shit first. Oh, weird. First thing that pops up is Reddit posts about how this lady's a fucking scammer or whatever. But let's dive in just a little bit further. Let's go to Modash here real quick, which, for the record, I am not affiliated with. I just love their service here. Let's just real quick check her follower base and see what it's made of. So we put Katie and Floyd in there. And all of a sudden we see that 73% of her audience, which, by the way, these counters are usually on the conservative side, 73% of her audience is bots. It's fake followers. This number right here is not real at all. And if we do the math down here, this 6.4K students, $8.5 million scaled, if she sold this course 6,500 times, that's about $1,300 a course. That means basically she's just ripped off people for about $8 million, which is fucking pathetic to me. Secondarily, as a guy who was raised Roman Catholic and doesn't like to talk about my religion too much, I can't fucking stand anybody who uses the bullshit of, faith-based this, that, and the other fucking thing. They are all scammers. They are all hacks. If they lead with God first, Jesus first, whatever the fuck else, guess what? They are what's the word? Philistine? Hypocrite? They suck. Just don't fucking... Absolutely do not trust anybody that mentions anything about their religion in anything else, and that is coming from a guy who goes to church on Sunday. Miss Katie here. I really, really hope somebody puts together like a lawsuit or something else against her, because if you read through those Reddit posts and everything else, she's a peach. She seems like a real nice lady. Real nice lady. So that's point number 2. Audit the follower count of the individual that you're checking out or the agency that you're checking out. Followers can be bought. I can't believe that we are in 2025 and people are still doing that, but it is still a very common thing. Mass follower, services and such are quite cheap. They're quite easy to get, and they're an easy way for somebody to appear reputable very quickly. The issue is if you dig beyond the surface and you do some basic searching, you find out pretty quick that all those numbers, as we just proved, are fake. Item number 3 actually goes into what happened twice with Miss Katie and the agency that we pulled up prior, and that's just doing a basic Google search and pulling up the business information of whoever you're discussing marketing and advertising services with. This is just how to vet people, by the way. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm telling you that a lot of these people out here are not what they claim to be. And while we're on that subject, let's pull up another one of my fucking favorites here. Mr. Justin Saunders, who is another peach. So Mr. Saunders here claims he helps coaches scale to $100,000 months, yada, yada, yada. He does marketing and advertising and sales funnels and blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the fucking problem with Mr. Authority Income Accelerator here, which this is his website once you pull it up. Says installs our social growth funnel in your business in 7 days or less, ready to buy appointments on autopilot, blah, blah, blah. You scroll down, and you get to the bottom, and we find Saunders Group Corp. That's the legal name of the business that they put at the bottom there. So let's pull that up. It's registered in Florida. Interesting, okay. And this is definitely it, because it's registered to a Justin Saunders. And the principal address is 86 Southwest 8th Street. Now, I know a little thing or two about Miami. I'm pretty sure that's an apartment complex. Let's double check real quick. And for the record, if it is, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I'll show you why it doesn't make sense in a second here, okay? But let's pull it up real quick here. Okay, so 86 Southwest 8th Street. There we go, Miami, Florida. And so we go down in here, and the Solitaire Brickell Apartments. I'm fairly certain that's where he's at. Let's pull those up real quick and check out these. Okay, so they're luxury-ish condos or apartments, whatever. All right. Now, let's go through the claims of Mr. Saunders here real quick. And this is deductive reasoning skills, for the record. You can do the math on this shit real easy. So the monthly rent on these places, $2,400, give or take, to about $6,000 a month, right? So not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of cheap for like downtown Miami standards, but whatever. Maybe he's a frugal individual. So Mr. Saunders' claims in general say something to the effect of he coaches a whole bunch of people and teaches them about marketing and sales, and all of a sudden they make $50,000 to $100,000 a month in revenue. He has a couple of posts out there. One of them from a reel from December of 2024, where he claims he spends $50,000 a month in ad spend. Now, as a working professional, I know that the industry average return on ad spend is 4 to 1, meaning for every dollar that you spend on ads, if done correctly, you make $4 back. Now, Mr. Saunders here claims that he makes an 8 to 1 return for him and his clients. 8 to 1 return, meaning every dollar spent on ads, he makes $8 back. All right, let's do the math on that. He spends $50,000 a month. We have a post that he explicitly says that. So $50,000 a month and an 8 to 1 return is almost $5 million a year in revenue. $5 million, $4.8 million to be exact. And so if we factor in taxes and everything else, that means probably about $3 million in profit. And now the registered address of the business, the principal address, is an apartment complex. So I can assume that his team is probably small, probably works remote, probably on a contract basis, meaning they, to put everything together, he's probably only paying a couple $100,000 a year for everything all said and done. A full-time videographer is $40,000 to $50,000 a year. A content editor is somewhere between $30,000 and maybe $100,000 if you found like a fucking phenomenal one, and then everything else. So let's say $200,000 a year for his remote team, because again, guy runs his business out of an apartment, right? So at the end of the day, we're looking at $3 million a year in profit. $3 million? Okay. I don't know about you, but if I was making $3 million a year, I wouldn't be slumming it in an apartment complex that costs $3,000 a month. Like, that's just my 2 cents, but math doesn't really add up on that one, Again, just my 2 cents, but I don't know. The math on that doesn't really math out real well. And as a guy that's run several ad campaigns over the course of time, I can tell you right now that an 8 to 1 return on ad spend is fucking astronomical. That's insane. So he's saying he doubles the industry average for his average. Like, I can tell you right now that, like, the algorithms and systems in place that allow you to advertise on platforms such as Meta, as Google, as everything else, they're designed so that you can't necessarily net that amount of a return off of them. They're designed that way. You can get lucky. We've had some good months. For instance, recently we had a client of ours get very lucky, I don't want to say lucky, but we had a fortunate instance where Amazon stopped running their ads on Google. And so because of that, our ad spend went significantly farther because we weren't competing for ad space with Amazon on that product. That net us a 7.5 to 1 return. That was for 6 weeks. We managed that for 6 weeks. Now, our average for that specific client actually is very good, but our definition of very good is between 5 and 6 to 1. Not 8 to 1. 8 to 1 is insane. So this guy is not only claiming he doubles the industry average that professionals like myself and everybody else in this industry aim for. He consistently doubles that. He's just better than all of us. And then on top of that, he's somehow humble and frugal enough to live in an apartment that is less than 10% of his yearly income. The math ain't mathing on that one. Justin's also a fun one because if you want to dig further into this fucking clown, you can actually find New Age Media Group LLC, which was an old business of his that clearly fucking failed, that he hopped out of several years ago and gave to a couple buddies or something like that. The testimonials on his pages, or at least on the media company's pages, are affiliates of his, associates of his. He's connected to another douchebag in the industry. All of this stuff is an MLM, basically. If anything, the recurring theme here that you might notice between these last two people that we're talking about is if they're talking about courses and coaching, they're a fucking fraud. They don't know a fucking thing about marketing, advertising, branding, anything else. They've just figured out that there's a whole bunch of people that are looking to make it rich, strike it rich really, really quick. And if they promise the world to those people and then get them into these fucking systems, get them into coaching, get them into whatever fucking sales funnel that they have and get them walking down the road, all they have to do is promise a whole bunch of pie in the sky, gold shit at the end of the yellow brick road. And these people believe it for a long time. And then when they get to the end of these fucking courses or the end of their coaching and they can't afford it anymore, they chalk it up to, they get told by these fucking people that they didn't do it right. They didn't act on it enough, yada, 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 yada. The problem is, like, a lot of these people, they masquerade as being professionals as well. So there's a lot of business owners that reach out to them as well. So another great example of this actually is, let me pull her up real quick. She's another one of my favorites. She's a peach. Seems like a real nice lady. This girl, Savannah Case Media. So Savannah's really, really fun because Savannah actually has put together a couple of halfway decent pieces of content. Like, I don't necessarily think she's particularly bad at the game of social media marketing. But let's hop into her stuff here real quick. Oh, we're selling courses already. Interesting. Okay, so let me be your social media manager for your business. But then the first thing I open up to is you're trying to sell other people on how to be a social media manager. Interesting. Okay. Well, need social media management. Let's get here. Let's go to Savannah Case Media. I'm going to keep digging through here real quick. Savannah's a fun one because she's clearly already orchestrated some brand deals. I've been targeted with them. That's the fun part about this little line of research that I end up in every once in a while, is as you start digging into them, you start getting targeted with more ads by these same fucking people. But if we go to, I want to find her case studies. I should have had this up before. So there we go. All right, let's check this out real quick. So Savannah has, I believe, 3 or 4, maybe 5. How many? There we go. All right, so we've got a client that clearly this was some kind of a brand deal with her because she's in half of the content down here for It Made Me Buy It, which I believe was a whole bunch of TikTok stuff. Maison Inc. I actually pulled them up earlier. She did I wouldn't say a very good job, but she did a pretty good job with those. I want to give her credit where credit's due. She actually did a halfway decent job there. Dr. Chaudhry. I can't find Dr. Chaudhry. I've tried. I have looked high and low. I cannot find this fucking person to save my life. So we're 3 case studies in. Well, actually, I can't even call them case studies, which is another point in here. The case studies themselves, they're just a whole bunch of fucking photos. Where's the data? What did you do? What did you do for them? I don't get it. Like, what did you do for these people, Savannah? But anyway, back on point. It Made Me Buy It. That's clearly something that she was like the influencer for or some shit. Maison Inc., like I said, she did a decent job there. I very clearly want to give credit where credit's due. Dr. Chaudhry, can't even find. And then Rejuvenation Medical, I pulled up, did an okay job with that as well. But that's also one of those industries that's aesthetic in the first place and actually pretty easy to promote. Just between you and me, that's the industries like this are, I don't want to call them a freebie, but they're very straightforward in terms of what you need to put together for them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 case studies. And one of them I can't even find the client for. All right, I called them case studies, but like they're not case studies. You saw them. They're not case studies. They're just people she worked with. I'm not even sure the extent of which. I'm hoping it's social media management and content creation, considering that's what she's promoting. But like, I have no evidence of what she did for them when she started working with them, what their original numbers were, what the fucking nothing. So out of those 4. 25% of her clients that we can find off the bat, we can't find. That's nuts to me. And then, you keep walking through her site, and it's very, very clear that she's trying to sell courses. She's not trying to actually offer a service to businesses. She's trying to sell a digital course that she can fucking, easily scale and yada, yada, yada. Oh, interesting. Her link's broken right now. It wasn't broken a couple days ago. Funny. Anyway, let's move on from there. I'm beating a dead horse on that one. Point is, people like Katie, like Savannah, like Justin, stay the fuck away from them, please. Save your money, go spend it somewhere else. Like I'd be happier if you just went and spent. I'm assuming that their fucking shit costs somewhere in the 3-4 figures range minimum. Let's assume it's $900. I'd rather you went out and bought fucking 900 Powerball tickets. I think your money would be better spent there than with these kind of fucking people. So that goes into the original point of that was the, do your research, do a basic Google search. And just for the sake of crossing my T's and dotting my I's, you know what? Let's do a little example here of what you can find if you pull up somebody who's not full of shit. So let's go. Drew Soucy, DS Media. Let's see what pops up here. All right, so my business profile immediately pops up here. Interesting. Okay, there's my website. There's my LinkedIn. There's my Instagram. Okay. Oh, interesting. I'm reputable enough to have been interviewed by my local news about my area of expertise. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that means I know more than those other people. I'm just saying that's a form of social proof. I might be a little bit more trustworthy than those people. Maybe. I don't look as flashy as they do, I'm not very good with the makeups and whatnot, I'm also fat, so I got a face for radio, that kind of thing. But when we start digging deeper and we start pulling shit up, by the way, you can do the same thing with my business. I'm a registered S Corp, DS Media LLC, registered in the state of Maine. Feel free to pull me up. Looking for those things and just doing some homework before you agree to drop 3, 4, 5 figures on marketing and advertising services is a very smart thing to do. Now, the last one that I want to end with here is a sort of nuanced one. This one's very contextual, and it's why I left it to the end. And I don't have a specific example of this right now because I don't have one that I felt comfortable picking on, for lack of a better term. And this has to do with case studies. So when you go onto an agency or a freelancer's website or page, you should be able to find people that they've worked with in some capacity. So for instance, my business's website right now, we're failing on the case study part. We have them written and put together. A team member of ours did a phenomenal job writing them and putting them all together, but we haven't gotten them live on the website yet. However, if you go onto all of our service pages, you can click on a whole bunch of links that direct you immediately to people that we work with. Immediately. You can pull up content that we've created for them, which has the dates on them. You can pull up their websites. You can pull up all sorts of stuff that we've worked on for them. So we have our proof right there. Now, going back to the case study bit, this is the nuance bit. Case studies that claim percentages, be careful with those. Be careful with those if you see an agency or a freelancer claim a percentage increase on their case study. What you need to look for is you need to look for the time. You need to look for the starting metric that they were tracking. You need to look for more data that gives you context to that percentage increase, because this is a game of statistics, and this will make up for some of my fucking bad math shit that I've done before in some previous content. One of the things I learned in statistics is statistics can be manipulated to say pretty much whatever you want. They are the most fluid of mathematics. They're not super real. Tangible numbers, on the other hand, are, right? And so what I mean by that is if you pull up an agency and the agency is claiming that they took a follower base on a specific platform for a specific client from 1 to 10,000 followers, that's phenomenal. And that's 1,000% increase, which is awesome. Like that's good. I would question the time frame within there and ask, what their action items were and, what the plan was to get all of that done. But that's good. Those are tangible numbers. That's easily understandable. Now, if I pull up a case study and it says let's say a 500% increase in engagement with no other context to it whatsoever, that could quite literally mean that I got one comment on a post for a client and I got 5 comments on the next post. That's a 500% increase. Think about that. So I could take a brand new fucking page with 10 followers and increase it to 100, and that would be 1,000% increase in followers, the same way that growing from 1 to 10,000 for that previous example that we gave was as well. That's where the percentage game is very, very tricky. Like, that's how a lot of low-end agencies convince people that they are more effective than they actually are. Because most small businesses, most independent businesses, most people that are reaching out for these services, guess what? They're not doing it on their own in the first place. They're not working on it. They're not putting out content on their social media. They might not even have a social media page. And so whatever you do as a professional in that case, like I will go on record and say, like, we've had clients like that where we've started with absolutely nothing because they did absolutely nothing before. And then we saw 3,000, 5,000, 20,000% returns on some of their stuff. Ad campaigns are a great example. If you go from not running an ad campaign at all to all of a sudden spending $5,000 a month on ads, guess what? It looks like you're doing fucking amazing. And that's the kind of cherry picking that a lot of poor agencies do in order to pad their case studies. And that's why I don't like case studies a lot in terms of promoting my business. I really like looking at what are my ongoing relationships? The average relationship with a marketing agency, I'm not sure how many people know this, but the average is about 2 years, give or take. If you find a good one, you feel like things are going well, you last about 2 years with them before you think grass is greener somewhere else or somebody pitches you on something that they think you can do better. I've had multiple clients for 4 to 5 years now. And that's not, I don't want that to come across braggadociously. I want that to come across as that is my selling point to a lot of people. The people that I get in the door for my agency that meet my team, that get to work with me and Joe and Brad and Eloise and whoever else, those people, they stay. They stay for a while. And that right there is better proof to me than a case study that says, hey, I was given this and I turned it into this. I have people coming in the door that say, hey, help me out. And over the course of time, we've been able to move the goalpost for them so much that we've kept them around and kept them growing through different projects, through different goals. That to me speaks infinitely more to the effectiveness, I guess, of the work that we do. That being said, don't get me wrong, we still should have case studies up on our website, and that is my fault that they're not up yet. So, feel free to yell at me for that one. But that's very, very important to consider if you're looking at the case studies of an individual or an agency. Like, when you're looking at them, look at the numbers that you're being presented. If they are not concrete base math, and they are some kind of statistic, some kind of percentage, some kind of ratio, check what numbers they're referring to and check what the time period that they're referring to is as well. Because if it's a 10,000% increase over the course of 6 weeks, 1, what happened after those 6 weeks? And 2, what did you do within those 6 weeks? How much was it augmented? What happened before those 6 weeks? See what I'm saying? There's also one other little quick note I want to add in here that I think is very important. A lot of people in my field, I wish I had one more example to throw up here, like some of the names that we've already called out today. A lot of people in my field like to claim that they have been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine or Forbes or some shit like that, and they put it across their website. You can buy those. You can 100% buy those features. You can pay to be featured in those fucking magazines, in those publications, on those websites. That's actually a significant source of revenue for them. So if you see any of those badges, don't trust that. And if you ever see a logo bar, do not take that at face value. That's another great one. So I guess point number 4 is turning into 3 more points. So we're technically on point number 6 or 7. Those logo bars that you see at the bottom or at the top of a website or whatever, the rolling ones that just show you the icons of everybody that they've worked with. Again, if there is not a case study tied to those, it could be as simple as they got a call from that person and filmed some stuff for them and then just left. They can claim responsibility for whatever. I actually have a great example of this, and you will see this. We don't have this on our website. However, I'm sure a lot of you know the name Pace Morby. Once upon a time, we worked with some friends of ours down in New Hampshire, and we had the opportunity to actually offer assistance to Pace Morby and his team. They were fucking phenomenal guys. We had a great time with them. It was really, really cool. The project that we were on, that our friends Justin and Katie brought us on, it was a phenomenal time. It was a really, really cool event. However, there are so many people in my position as an agency owner that would immediately go onto their website and say, yeah, we worked with Pace Morby. We worked with Pace Morby's team. We're responsible for the fucking 500,000 followers he has or whatever. Or I don't even know what he's up to at this point. That's a very, very common tactic by a lot of businesses. It's embellishing whatever they were associated with. We showed up and we filmed some stuff for them and offloaded it to a hard drive. So we did some stock media stuff for them. We did technically work with them, which was really, really cool. That's not something I'm putting on my website and saying that I'm responsible for the marketing and branding of Pace fucking Morby. That's false advertisement. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of agencies do. They do the same thing. I've seen it all the time. There's a whole bunch of local agencies around here in the Portland area that I have caught doing this. You know, they'll say they've worked with Tide or they've worked with LL Bean or they've worked with whoever the fuck. And then you try to pull up the specifics of what they did. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have a little bit of an in over at a couple of these companies. And you text them and you say, hey, do you know so-and-so? What did they do for you? Like, what was the extent of their work there? Like, how did that get set up? And you find out that they got called for, some fill-in thing, like some drone operator work on a thing that they, their fucking main cameraman ended up, sick for and yada, yada. Like, they did nothing. But they're still going to say that they worked with those people. It's cheap. It's a common tactic. It's just one of those things, like, as I'm walking through all this shit, I'm starting to realize, like, picking a marketing agency is kind of like shopping for a fucking car at dealerships. Like, you just really got to sniff out the bad car salesman real quick and move on. And I guess that's my number one piece of advice to you guys. Remember this list. Hopefully that'll help you if you're in the position of trying to find somebody like me to either work on your team or assist your business in growing. But the main thing to keep in mind is just if it smells like shit, it's probably shit. You can sugarcoat it, but that don't make it a jelly donut. It's as simple as that. If this was helpful for you guys, please do me a favor. Give me a follow at probably Drew Susi on just about every platform on the internet. If I can be found on those platforms, you can find me at that moniker. Please do like and subscribe if you happen to like this content, and we'll be back with another episode real soon.